You're listening to The Topcast, the original podcast for growth-minded instrumental music and voice teachers since 2015, with your host, Tim Topham. Our mission at Top Music is to empower instrumental music and voice teachers to find and nurture their innate creativity so that they can teach lessons that are innovative, integrated, and inspiring, and that will have a positive, lifelong impact on their students. Join us each week as we interview teachers and creators from around the world and unpack fun and exciting ideas to maximize your teaching and studio business success. Welcome back, everybody. Great to be spending some more time with you this week. I hope things are going well for you. I know teachers down here in Australia are wrapping up their school holidays. I hope things have gone well. And to you guys in the Northern Hemisphere, I hope spring has sprung or is starting to. I always am jealous of people coming into springtime because it's my favourite time of the year. I always love that sense that summer is coming. Always a good feeling. Anyway, hope you're well. Hope teaching is going well for you. So today we're talking a little bit about the business side of your studio. And of course, running a successful studio isn't just about the great teaching. It's about smart business strategies. But what if some of the best business insights didn't come from the music world at all? I've recently been preparing some new presentations for conferences this year and next year, and I thought I'd share with you the background and details of one of them. This presentation is still a work in progress, but I'm going to give you the background and then talk you through the content, hopefully with lots of takeaways that you can use in your studio right away. And if you've never given a conference or workshop presentation before, you might be surprised at just how long this process is and how much work it takes. I might spend, I was thinking about it, 20 to 30 hours planning, PowerPointing and rehearsing a 1-hour keynote. I started work on my big MTNA keynote for Atlanta, which was March 24, as soon as I was invited, which was in July 23. And I knew I wanted to make it really, really special. And one of the ways that I go about preparing presentations is to do some work up front and then let it simmer, let the ideas develop in my brain. And I'm sure you've had that experience where if you aren't trying to focus on something all the time and you just let it simmer in the back of your mind, new ideas emerge, new directions emerge and things like that. And so over the course of, from July to probably November in 2023 and preparing for that keynote, I slowly sort of worked out eventually how I wanted to present this, what the framework was going to be, etc. And so these things do develop over time, which is why creating great presentations, I think, often takes quite a long time. So the presentation that I'm going to share with you today actually comes on the back of a blog post that I wrote last year titled "What Music Teachers Can Learn from Chiropractors," after I took a lot of ideas away from a visit to a new chiropractor. I know that probably sounds kind of weird, but stay with me. There were so many lessons I took away from the experience that teachers can use in their studios. And so with a little help from ChatGPT on my title, I've created a presentation called Cracking the Code: Studio Business Lessons from My Chiropractor. Did you get the joke? Whether you're looking to get more students in the door, simplify your operations, automate repetitive processes, or just save time and reduce your admin burden, I hope that today's podcast will challenge the way you think about some aspects of your business. And I hope you don't mind, but I thought I might make this a bit more of a casual episode as I talk through some of these ideas in a more off-the-cuff manner than you might be accustomed to on the show. But hey, I think it's worth trying it out. So let's get ready to crack the code and realign, nudge, nudge, your studio for growth. All right, so let me take you back a few months into 2024. I'd been having some neck and back pain, and I had previously been a fan of chiropractic treatment, but I hadn't seen one in probably 10 years. So I was starting from scratch. I was in a new area, and so what do I do? What do you do when you need to find a physio or chiro or osteo or any sort of allied health or even a doctor? First thing you do, you jump on Google search, don't you? And so that's exactly what I did. And by the way, you may not be a fan of chiropractic care or believe in it. Totally fine. Don't let that sort of make this irrelevant for you. The things that I learned from this, I could have learned from any doctor, any physio, etc. So I hope that's all right with you. So I went on Google search, and one of the top of the list, in the top 2, was the chiropractor that I ended up going to. So what did I do next? What does everyone do when they're about to visit a new place? You check Google reviews, right? And they were all really favorable. 4.9 from 140 plus reviews. So that sounded pretty good. So then I went to their website. It was modern, professional. I could see lots of smiling faces. I could see the person who was going to treat me. And this is really interesting because this is exactly the process that parents will take when they're looking for music lessons for their child, right? Right at the top was a yellow special offer banner, and it said $37 for a first consult. Now, this I'd never seen before on a chiropractor's or a doctor's website. Normally, over here in Australia, that kind of a consult will cost about $90, probably, maybe even more. So I thought, okay, that's interesting. So I also went, before I went any further, I also went to my local community group online and asked in there who their recommendations were for chiropractors in my area. Interestingly enough, the one that I was looking at was recommended by multiple people numerous times, and very glowingly so. So I clicked on that banner at the top and I claimed the offer. And what happened was I clicked on that offer page and they collected my email before sharing a booking link for an initial consult. Now, this is all things that we can, of course, do in our studios. And it was fairly straightforward. And I was really captured by that special offer, $37. That's really, really cheap. I thought, okay, reviews are good. First consult is cheap. This sounds like it's worth checking out. So I booked my consult. After that, I received a clear and friendly automated email confirming my details, making sure I knew how to change and cancel my appointment and confirming everything. So what can we learn from this? There are 5 things I think music teachers can learn. Number 1, Google search is still important today. Now, things are shifting, aren't they? No doubt you've all been seeing the AI results at the top of Google search, right? I use it all the time. I think we all probably do. In fact, it's becoming quite normal to not go to any websites in many cases, isn't it? And this can be a bit scary for people who have spent a lot of time and money on their SEO. However, the AI bots and things are going to be looking at the websites that have the best data and the best rankings and things like that in order to get their results and to form their AI response to you. So I don't think we've seen the end of SEO yet, and I think it is still important. And it's also important to have a good website, because as soon as someone lands on it, they're going to make a very quick decision about what kind of studio you're running, what vibe it has, what kind of lessons you're going to be teaching, and all of those things. And we talk a lot about this in our 12-week studio transformation program. We talk about it in our top music certification. We go into lots of detail helping teachers with this. There are some critical things that you can do on your website that can make a huge difference to the conversion. And the conversion is getting a parent click the thing that you want them to click, which is normally perhaps a free trial lesson or book now or call now, whatever it is. There are some things that you can do to make that much more likely to happen. And if you're a member of Top Music Pro, these are things that we love talking about in our forums and in member meetups and things like that. I also take great pleasure in helping teachers with their studio websites. In our Studio Plus Top Music Pro membership level, we offer website audits where we go through a website, screen record, talk through all the changes that you can make, any suggestions that we've got. And that's a free part of being a Top Music Pro Studio Plus member. All right, so back to the 5 tips that I was getting from this very initial, the first contact. Number 2, reviews are critical. And I want you to think about any time you've purchased something that's not in your knowledge zone, a new fridge, a car, small things, clothing, a new gym. I was looking for cacao reviews the other day, like cacao. So people rely heavily on reviews. You need to get good reviews on Google as much as you can. I don't know how much that plays into the rankings and things, but all of the top 3 chiropractors in my search area had 4.9 or 5-star reviews with 30 plus reviewers. So I think this is a really great lesson as well. Try and get your parents or your adult students to leave you a good review. All right, number 3, the website needs to have a clear call to action. As I mentioned before, this is the box that says what you want somebody to do. Book your first lesson, book a free trial, call today and reserve your place. Whatever it is, make it very clear, and don't give people 10 different choices of things to click on and things to do. They'll get confused and they won't do anything. One button that's repeated multiple times is much more powerful. And of course, on this occasion with the special offer, this is point number 4, special offers are really enticing. This was one of the biggest conversion factors for me because it was a surprise. The $37 offer was unexpected and made me think. It made me stop and think. It stopped the scroll in some ways. And it made me wonder if the owner was quite a modern business thinker, because we're more likely to associate that kind of offer with online marketing and online courses and things. And it turns out that I was right on that one too, by the way. So think about creative ideas around offers. We often offer free trials, but because that's so common, maybe there's something else you could do. Could you do a free trial and a music bag or some swag, or a free trial and we'll give you a $10 music voucher? Or do a free trial and you get $10 off your next lesson, or something to help parents take notice. And then point number 5, an easy online booking system and follow-up email confirming it. All of that can be automated. And the service, the online booking system service, there are lots of free or very inexpensive options. I used to use Calendly. I now use TidyCal. It's a $29 one-off fee for life to use their software. It's brilliant. All of the automated follow-ups, all done, all of that kind of stuff. So I would recommend having some kind of online booking system so parents can just book in when they want to see you for the first time. And if you're a Top Music Pro member as well, we have our 90-day free trial of My Music Staff that all our members get access to. My Music Staff's great studio software that has fantastic scheduling systems. It also allows you to have parents enter all their details directly into My Music Staff, so you're not double entering information, you're not writing it down or getting it out of an email and then typing it into your studio software yourself. Just send them to a page, they enter all their details, they can book a time. So I think that's really, really interesting. And if you want to be a little bit cheeky, put something fun in that confirmation email or give them an unexpected surprise. Let your child know that if they say the word Beethoven at their first lesson, they can choose a chocolate to take home, or something silly that might put a smile on the face and increase their expectation for a first fun lesson. There's a little takeaway for you. So back to the story of my first actual visit to the chiropractors. Firstly, the place, modern, clean, light, fresh, admin staff, smiling, knew exactly what to do. Now, most of us don't have admin teams to welcome our students while we're waiting and things like that. But I think the presentation of your space, equally important. And it was really interesting seeing while I was waiting and filling out an initial form, which I was surprised actually I didn't do online, because most doctors and things will get you to fill out a form online now first. I'm surprised he didn't do that. But anyway, I was filling out the form and I watched, young people come and go, and they obviously had a great relationship with the admin team. People came in the door and the receptionist would know them by name. I think that's really important. If you do have an admin or a welcoming person and you have, a commercial space, then that's such a critical factor, that welcoming greeting when people arrive. So I already had a preconceived idea of what a first chiropractic appointment would be. My guess, I'd have a quick chat to Matt, the owner, and he would then lie me on one of the treatment tables and do some adjustments. But no, this was really different, and it was different in a good way. So I was taken to the back of the space to a private room, and then Matt came in, introduced himself, and we had a basic conversation. He took some photos of me standing up so that he could use a computer program to assess my natural posture. Then he ran this thermo roller down my spine, which I'd never seen before, and it shows increased heat in areas of the spine, which is a sign of abnormality or potential problems. And it was interesting that some of the areas where I was experiencing some pain were indicated in that result, so that was good. I hadn't seen this thing used before. And so he then used a model of a spine and images to explain how it works and the organs and how things are connected. So it was that sort of background information. And then he had me do some physical assessment and movement tests. Didn't do any adjustments, but told me what he thought the problem was. And he recommended that I go and get a spinal x-ray to confirm his thoughts before any manipulation. And he gave me the details of a local imaging facility that wouldn't cost me anything and would take me without an appointment. And so if I had time, I could actually go right away and get that done and out of the way. Which I was a little bit skeptical of, but I thought, you know what? He's been quite confident so far and the process has been good so far, so I'm going to trust that that's true. So before I left to go actually and have my x-ray, they made an appointment for me for the next day, and said, look, if you go and do the x-rays now, they'll be back in time. So that's all good. So I paid my $37, the bargain, and headed off to the x-ray. And true to Matt's word, I only waited about 1 minute at the imaging facility, and the whole thing was done in about 10 minutes. And I headed home and looked forward to finding out what the x-ray had in store. So what are the lessons for music teachers from this part of my experience? Well, number one, first impressions are critical. Make sure your studio is warm, friendly, and inviting. I don't need to say that. I'm sure we all do this already. And of course, if you do have teams and staff, then have them, welcome people in. I know that Mike Grunday over at Rock Out Loud in New Jersey has a popcorn machine in the front of his waiting room. He's got a space where you can kind of see parts of what lessons are going on, and a really fun sort of space. So if you can do that, fantastic. Always think about that first impression of people coming into your home or your studio, wherever it is. And then point number 2, think about how you can make that first lesson experience different and unexpected. I had a very clear idea of what I expected would happen in my first chiropractic appointment, and it did not happen. And that was okay. And in fact, it was better. I think it was actually a better experience. So change them up. Can you use some technology like my chiropractor used that I wasn't even aware of? An app or a digital instrument to explore sounds and rhythms. Think about what you can do to show parents that your studio is different and that you know more about this subject than anyone else, because that's the feeling that I got from Matt. And whatever you do, of course, don't open a method book and start teaching reading or scales. Go and read my book, No Book Beginners, to find out some things that you can do in that first lesson, okay? Okay, we're up to the second appointment now. And this is the next day. So I was welcomed back by a different member of the admin team, but very much the same warmth and approach. After a short wait, the administrator took me to the consulting room where my x-rays were already up on the screen, really professional. And she suggested I look at them while waiting for Matt. And he arrived later, explained that the x-rays confirmed his diagnosis, and then he outlined the next steps. And he took me to the open treatment area, and I experienced my first adjustment, which is what I would have thought would have happened the first day. And after that, I was taken to the front desk to book my next appointment for the following week, which would be a longer session to allow us to go into more details of the treatment plan ahead. And so with that booked, I left for a short walk, which he recommended to just shake things out before I drove home. So what lessons can music studio owners learn from this second appointment? Well, firstly, systems. Systems. Everything in the clinic ran like clockwork. And there was very clearly an onboarding process going on in the background. From the greeting to the setup of the room with the x-ray showing, the fact that the clinician didn't appear until everything was ready, all of that was just professional and perfect. And so I wonder how you can use systems in your own studio to set up and plan the ultimate experience without sort of making things up as you go. While being flexible is good, having a structure is also really, really helpful. What's the best way to onboard a new student? How does it work? What's the flow? Write it down. And if you have other teachers, make sure they're all on the same page. And if you have an admin person, make sure that they know what's going on. The worst thing you can do is have everyone doing things differently if you're owning a studio with multiple teachers particularly. Of course, you want your teachers to have some autonomy, but it's within your structure. And I think that just came through with Matt and his team. Everyone knew what they were doing, what the process was, what the order was, and it felt reassuring, I think was probably the best word for it. Now, the other thing I take away from this is to always assume the next appointment. I never left without having the next appointment booked. And I think for music lessons, we're setting up a weekly schedule. But what if when you take on a new student, you have them come for 2 sessions in the same week, in the first week? Do you reckon would that set them up for more success and excitement? Are there other ways of offering timetabling? I started thinking about this in the music teacher context. What if they came 3 times in the first week? What if that was just how you did things? And over the course of those 3 lessons, you did 3 completely different things? I'm not sure. But I just wanted to sort of throw out there this idea that we don't have to just do weekly. Maybe there are other options, particularly right at the start when you're forming that connection and the bond with the parent and the child. And it was interesting as well. I was having a look at the open times for this clinic, and it opened at 7 a.m. on some days and then closed during the middle of the day and then opening again in the evening. And of course, that's to maximize the times people are available for and after work. But I thought, again, interesting. It's not just sort of a 9 to 5 and fit you in. And look, music teachers, of course, we are the most flexible when it comes to offering times that students want, aren't we? I mean, we're up at 7, maybe teaching before school starts. We're teaching after school, late into the evening. So I don't think that's perhaps as an important takeaway for us. But I think that concept of what can we do in that first week or 2 weeks to do something that's a little bit different for new students. All right, on to appointment number 3. And this is where things got surprising again. So I arrived and I was seated in the waiting room and I was handed an iPad and headphones by the admin team and asked to watch a video. And in the 12-minute video, I thought, okay, this is a bit weird, but okay, go with it. The lead, the owner, Matt, gave a presentation all about the mission and vision of the practice and the holistic nature of his approach. It explained his beliefs and what he's doing, how he came to be doing it. There was a story about his father and challenges that he had, which made him want to come into this industry, which I thought was really strong. And it also made a really strong case for regular checkups, like preventative maintenance on your car or brushing your teeth. And it was interesting, actually. I had a similar experience with another health professional towards the end of last year, which was regarding a dentist and a dental appliance. And instead of her talking through the whole process, which would get very tiring and takes time that you don't need to be spent doing it, she also handed me a video and headphones, and I was watching that while she was, finishing on another patient or whatever it was. And then she came in and said, any questions? And I thought, okay, that's interesting. I've seen 2 clinicians do this now. Why don't we do this in our music lessons? It makes so much sense. Anyway, I'm going to come back to that in a second. So I watched the video. It was personal, meaningful, helped me understand how and why this clinic is different to others, why Matt's doing what he's doing. So that was really, really great. After the video, I was taken back to the consulting room where the x-rays were again showing, and Mark then came in to talk through his treatment plan for me. So in a music teaching context, he's what he actually wants to do what he's going to teach me. What's the vision? What's the curriculum going to be for the next little while? His team, get this, had created a really smart black folder with my name printed on it, and inside were printouts of the postural analysis, the heat mapping, and the summary of the x-rays. And over a short little period of time, he explained what he felt I needed to get maximum benefit over the next few months. And then he explained how payments work. And it was actually during this meeting that I couldn't help myself. I had to ask him. I said, I'm so impressed by this process and the discount on the website, etc. And I asked him about the systems, and he told me that he just loves systems. And he had some online marketing and that sort of background training. And it really does show. Now, at the end of that appointment, he also talked about payment. And this was where things got really clever. And I think music teachers, we can be more clever with how we offer payments and bundles to our students. So he recommended that I see him twice a week for a month and then weekly for the next 2 months. And this was all outlined in this folder. And he asked if this was possible, and I said yes, but what about the costs? Of course. And that's when he shared something quite unique about his business. It was a discount if I buy a bulk lot of sessions in advance. So his regular adjustment price was $90, so that $37 was a good discount. But if I purchased 8 sessions up front, he'd only charge me $70 per session. So I'd need to pay $560 up front, and then for each session, they'd deduct $70 from my balance until I needed a refill, rather than $90. So saving $20 each time. Pretty decent discount, and definitely enough to make it worth it. Now, I was thinking, by doing this, the clinician gets a larger sum of money up front, ensures his clients are committed to regular visits, super important, makes his clients more likely to return to use up their credits, which means better health outcomes for the client, which means his business is more successful. Can you see how this works? Can you see how clever this is? This is really, really good. So I actually can't think of a better sort of win-win situation for healthcare billing. And I wonder what takeaways you are thinking of in regard to your own teaching. So how did it finish? Well, his admin team booked me in for the next 2 appointments, took my payment, and I was perfectly onboarded. And I actually couldn't think of anything they could have done better for me or their business, except maybe right at the start, just doing the main client form online, but really a small thing. So what are the takeaways from this 3rd appointment that I had? Have you ever thought of giving parents an onboarding video to watch while you're working with their child in a first lesson? I actually think it's a really clever approach. You just record something, you speaking from your heart to your iPad or your phone screen, talking about why you're doing what you're doing, why you're so passionate about it, and the vision and mission of your studio, what you stand for, what you prioritize, why you're different, and all those kinds of things. And just let them sit there and absorb it with their headphones on while you're working with their child. I think it's a great way to do things. And sure, it may take, an hour just to put together a basic script that you're going to read from or riff off, and then 10 minutes to record it. But then you've done it once and you've got it forever. I think it's really, really clever. Have a think about it. Number 2, be imaginative and creative with the offer. And by offer, I mean what you're charging people and what they get for it. Subscriptions and bundles, a discounted rate when you pay for more lessons upfront. No doubt you're already charging by the month, but what if like a school year enrollment could be annual even? No child is enrolled in a school thinking it's just for a few weeks or a term or semester. No, it's for 5 years, right? Why can't our studios be like that? Now, no, of course, parents don't think the same way about music lessons. It'd be great if they did, of course. But what if, especially for adult students who need more flexibility, you offered bundles of 10 lessons for a discounted price and they had 3 months' time to use them or something like that? And I have a think about how you can be more creative with your offer, like Matt was for me with that sort of buy up front and each lesson is cheaper. Idea number 3 is consider how you can offer bundles, especially if you're in a highly competitive area. If you don't want to just be compared to the other music teacher down the road, and you don't want to go on a price war with them, can you offer more than just the lessons? We talk about this a lot as one of the modules in the outreach step of our Presto framework because it's critical. This is part of what we cover in our top music certification. But bundling and being creative with offers can really set you aside from other music teachers in your area, which means that parents and students can't easily compare you with others. And if they can't compare you directly, then the price that you charge becomes less relevant, I guess, less price sensitive anyway. Because if you are bundling a whole lot of things in, a recital, a workshop, swag, music books, whatever it is, and that's the price for a month, a term, a year, whatever it is, but the other teacher down the road is just doing 30-minute lessons for $50 an hour or whatever it is, then you become something that's really quite different. And I think that's really, really powerful, particularly if you're in a very competitive area. Okay, point number 4, could we shift expectations for music lessons to multiple times a week? Dance classes, sports training, they're always multiple times a week. Well, quite often anyway. Why not music? Maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't. How good would it be if it could? Twice a week to music lessons. I think it'd be amazing. And point number 5, could you offer some kind of training program, a curriculum that's set and a folder that's personalized for the student that you give them at the start? And I know some of you already do this. You create a branded folder for students to put their music in and things. I think that's great. Can you actually set out a bit of a long-term plan? Of course, things change over time, but can you give parents the confidence that you not only know what you're doing, but you've thought about the direction for this child, having had them for a couple of weeks? And here is my plan for the next 6 months or the first year with me. This is where we're going to get to. This is what I would like to achieve. And lay it out in a nice folder. Now, of course, you don't need to do this and spend hours and hours doing this every time. You could have some templated curricula bundles that you can share, put new names in and adjust slightly and have, say, 5 different sort of programs that your students mainly fit into. And once you've created these the first time, you can just tweak them for future students. And I think that's a great thing to show parents that you're professional, that you're committed, that you know what you're doing, and that you have a plan. I think it's really, really good. So that is it. I hope you got something out of my visit to my chiropractor. I certainly did. I guess just being creative and doing things that are a little bit out of the box will make you stand out from other teachers. And that's definitely what we want, particularly, as I said, when we have a lot of competition around. Well, I hope you enjoyed that slightly more casual chat about my experience at the chiropractor, and then hopefully lots of takeaways. I want you to consider if you could implement just one of those ideas that I mentioned today. Just try it out. 2 lessons in the first week for your next new student, for example. Some kind of creative bundling or payment system. Some kind of onboarding video. That'd be my top 3 to try out. But any of those ideas, I think, are really, really good to think about. So try one of them out. Let me know. I'd love to know how it goes if you do this and crack the code like my chiropractor has done. Send me a note about it if you can. We're on all the different social media channels. And of course, you can leave a comment under the show notes for today's episode at topmusic.co/episode 412. Now, if you'd like to see me deliver this presentation live, I would love to invite you to come along to the Kauai Educators Opus, which is going to be on July 4 in Sydney this year. This is the second year that I've emceed this event, and it's an absolutely cracking one-day program of inspiring speakers, lots of actionable takeaways. It's a really great event. So if you'd like to find out more, you can head to educatorsopus.kauai.com.au, and we'll put a link to that in the show notes for today's episode as well. Tickets are on sale now, and I'll actually be dedicating a future episode coming up in a couple of weeks to telling you more about this great event. So I hope you can come along and join in the fun. Well, that's the end of the show for this week. Hope you got some good takeaways, and I look forward to chatting with you again same time next week. Bye-bye, everyone. How do you keep up to date with all the latest trends and research into music education? How do you connect with other teachers around the world and make sure your teaching stays fresh and relevant for students of all ages and stages, both now and into the future? I created our Top Music Pro membership to be the one-stop shop for music teaching resources, training, support, and community, and I'd love for you to come and join us inside. With over 40 comprehensive training courses, hundreds of teaching demonstrations and lesson plans, free monthly sheet music, discounts, and all the business and pedagogy support you could ever need, Top Music Pro is the community you've been looking for. If you're ready to level up your learning from the podcast and join thousands of other teachers in our global network, head over to topmusicpro.com today. If you enjoy this show and want to hear more of our work, be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening today. For links and resources mentioned in this episode, visit us at topmusic.co/podcast or check out the show notes. I'm Tim Topham. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy your week ahead, and I'll catch you next time.